4 here at Art Day of the Colts Corner podcast, simulcasting on Apple Podcasts and on our YouTube channel. I'm Doug Lattuca with Benjamin Dickson and Michael Garaffa. We've got a great a part here in our show for you guys. Let's start off with a little MLB talk, and then we're going to go into another one of our shows that we do called the THEORYCAST. So we'll give you a little sneak peek into how that show goes. But let's just first talk MLB news. A lot of stuff going on. A little bit with the Yankees. Adam Ottavino, great signing for the bullpen, and it looks like maybe one of the best bullpens in MLB history right now.
On paper, especially.
Possibly.
You look at it, you got Ottavino, you got Chad Green, you got Dellin DeBatantis, Aroldis Chapman, Zach Britton. I mean, that's elite.
It really doesn't get better than that. And if you look at the Red Sox, who were probably the biggest competitors for the New York Yankees.
Their bullpen's a joke.
This season,
They haven't signed Kimbrel yet. They might not either.
It's embarrassing how bad their bullpen is.
You got Ryan Brazier as one of your guys. Do you even know who that is?
He was the guy who
we know who he is
because he was in almost every game because they couldn't rely on any other pitcher.
The guy was pitching in Japan a couple of years ago.
Yeah, wasn't he the one who told Gary Sanchez to get in the box? Yeah,
It
Gary
probably
Sanchez
was.
stepped out and he said
You know
get
what?
in the
Don't
box.
tell Gary Sanchez to get into the box, okay? Give
Were
that
some
guy enough
expletives.
time, all right? Guy's working hard behind the dish. Give him a little bit of time up at the plate. Okay, you don't have to be so pushy with the guy.
I
Come
agree.
Well, you're just a Yankee fan.
Well, of course, you know.
It was taking a pretty long time.
Yeah, whatever. You know what? Give the guy as much time as he wants. The guy hit 220. Can we at least get that up to 250 this year, Gary?
270. Come on.
He should be hitting 300.
270, 30 plus, 70 plus RBIs right there.
If you're hitting 250, I'm expecting at least 50 homers, 100 ribbies.
It was a huge down year for the guy. He'll be back next year, though.
He'll be back.
I'm waiting for the first person to hit 100
though.
home runs. The first person who hits 100 home runs in a season is going to be, they're going to be a legend forever.
No one's hitting 100
That's
home runs.
impossible.
It's not gonna
Unless
happen.
they
I
open
think
a
it's
stadium
impossible.
smaller than Yankee Stadium, it's not going to happen. But that'll be fun.
It's just, I don't think it's possible, but it would be
You
a
know
very
what?
exciting time in the MLB.
I just want to say this right now. I hate all the negative vibes the Yankee Stadium gets about the dimensions. You look, every park has their own thing. Fenway Park, you got the Green Monster. What is it, 280 feet away?
And the pesky pole.
The pesky pole. I mean, it's pretty far away, but the wall is like a foot high. I mean, every stadium has its own special dimensions. I get the short porch in Yankee Stadium. It's definitely an advantage to lefty batters, Bryce Harper. But every stadium has their perks, and Yankee Stadium just happens to be the most relevant one, I guess.
I mean, it goes back to part 3 of our art show day where we didn't talk about maybe the most hated franchises. One of them goes to be the New York Yankees, where a lot of fans of the MLB don't like the Yankees, so they automatically turn to different excuses, meaning the ballpark, how we spend money on salary of players, which is actually not 100%
It's mainly
true.
false. I mean,
yeah,
the
mainly
team
false.
now is pretty much homegrown, but
And of course our history. So the Yankees get a lot of hate, and especially with that ballpark, there are small quirks in it. But that's with every ballpark, as you stated. In Houston, they have a hill in center field. I mean,
Not anymore, but that was
I think
pretty
they
cool.
had that.
Did they get rid of it?
They had that.
That was
before,
really
before
fun.
Minute Maid. They had the hill in center field.
No, they
Yeah,
had it in Mini Maid. They just took it down because it was a
Right.
hazard.
And
Yeah.
you think of Chicago, Ivy on the wall. Like,
That's just
how are you
interesting.
supposed to rob a home run like that?
You just jump in the
caught.
ivy. You get
It's a
yourself
jungle.
poison ivy.
It's a jungle. Stick
And
your
they've
hand
got
in, and you might find the ball. You
They've
don't
got
even
like
know.
barbed wire up there too, so like if you try to catch a ball, you're gonna cut your arm and get poison ivy. It's not a great stadium.
It's a joke.
So every
It really
ballpark
is.
has its own special features, and Yankee Stadium definitely does there. So
I mean, that's the one thing about baseball, which I think is just taken for granted, is you play with your own dimensions. You really just
Yep.
each stadium. You obviously have 60, 90, 60 feet, 6 inches away from the mound, 90 feet in between the bases. But other than that, it's fair play. You can make the backstop how large you want it, the
Yep.
outfield, the walls. I mean, that's definitely the one part of baseball. It's definitely taken for granted compared to other sports.
yeah, I mean it's called a home field advantage for a reason.
Right.
It's your home ballpark. You design it for your team needs, and that's exactly what the Yankees did. And it could benefit them even more if they go after a big free agent like Bryce Harper, who's a lefty power guy
It's not
who
gonna happen.
would be our
It's not.
left fielder of the future. But I want to go really deep into those guys in a second. But just want to touch on a big signing for the Mets in their bullpen, Justin Wilson. Guy was pretty elite with the Yankees in their bullpen for about 2 or 3 years. was traded in the Luis Cessa Chad Green trade, which probably people don't even know what I'm talking about. But as a Yankee fan, we know. Justin Wilson, solid guy in their bullpen, and the Mets have made some nice improvements on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great lefty. Replaces Jerry Blevins, who was god awful last year. So I mean, he's gonna be a solid piece. I mean, he throws really well, and he seemed really emphatic to be able to be on the Mets, and that's saying something. I mean, if someone's really that excited to go to the Mets, I mean, you're doing something right.
Who's excited to go to the Mets? Actually, Jay Bruce was pretty hyped up to go to the Mets.
Because I mean, he's leaving the Reds, and the Reds suck.
I mean, you're still playing in New York. It's obviously not the team, but the Mets.
It will be the team. Trust me.
It never will be.
We're gonna win the World Series this year. Calling it.
Hold my word.
You guys heard it here
I'll text
first.
you in November.
Mike Garaffa stating that the New York Mets will be the World Series champions this year.
It's really not that
We're
bold.
not pitchers and catchers haven't even reported yet.
It's
This
really
guy's making his
no.
prediction.
It's really not that bold because every Met fan I know says the same thing every
That is
year
so
after
true.
year.
We're allowed to get our
Says
hopes
this-
up.
I think Brian's told me the last 5 years that the Mets are going to win the World Series, and it just hasn't happened.
You were close in
We were
2015.
close, but Juris Familia is just disgraceful. But I mean, that's just how Mets fans roll. You know, we get our hopes up, and then we just get them crushed. That's just the life of a Mets fan. You've got to be happy. You've got to get your hopes up to get them crushed.
Well,
And
you
that's
got
just-
you back your team through ups and downs, and that's how it goes.
You got to be more like Jets fans, all right?
Yeah.
Be more realistic.
But we're allowed to be projecting because we know we've got the big brother Yankees looking over us saying, you know, you guys suck. We're going to spend all of our money, and we might eventually do worse than you. But you know what? You're going to do bad, and
You guys
just
should.
enjoy
You guys
it.
should spend your money.
We should.
Yeah,
But we have the Wilpons, and as long as they're alive, we're not going to be doing anything.
Yeah, so the Mets having a tough time spending their money, actually reaching into their pocket a little bit more this offseason than usual. Let's see how it results. Let's go to the Cincinnati Reds. We highlighted them before in our most irrelevant franchises in professional sports, but they're breaking the surface of relevance here. They made a trade. They gave away Homer Bailey to the Dodgers, and in return, Puig on the roster, a big name guy. Matt Kemp going over there as well, and JT Realmuto. His name's being brought up in trade talks, and with Sonny Gray, I don't know if you could say he's leading the rotation. The guy was abysmal last year with the Yankees.
I
Let's
mean,
see if
he'll be their star
reinvents
He'll
himself.
be great. Watch him win the Cy Young.
Oh, wow.
Not predicting
He's not
it.
gonna beat
predicting
DeGrom,
it,
but-
not predicting it. But I'm saying watch him turn back into the elite pitcher he was in Oakland. You look at the splits, home and road, when he was a Yankee. Guy obviously just couldn't pitch under the bright lights, and he won't have that problem in Cincinnati.
I mean,
Looks
I
like he
hope
won't be pitching in the Big Apple anytime soon.
I hope he does well. I mean, when he came up with the Athletics, I loved the way he pitched. He was a great pitcher. He was a guy who got a lot of just solid starts, and he's a guy who you want to see do well. It's sad that he didn't do well with the Yankees. He kind of fell off, but I feel like if he can get that ace job with the Reds because they don't have anybody. I mean, Michael Lorenzen's technically their ace. I mean, they've got prospects coming up, but he could be their ace.
Is Lorenzen the guy that goes yard every other game?
Yeah. So, I mean, they got to figure it out, but I think Sonny Gray, definitely a good addition for them.
But from the Dodgers' standpoint, they went out and signed former Diamondback A.J. Pollock, the outfielder.
Relatively cheap deal, too.
Yeah, pretty cheap deal, team-friendly deal, and a really solid player. He'll fill the shoes of Puig and Kemp in that outfield. And, I mean, it's an underrated signing, and it could pay off big dividends for them.
This just aggravates me because it means that the Mets they had the chance, they could have spent the money, and as usual, they just didn't. Yeah, I'm sure the Wilpons tagged in saying, yeah, don't pay them. We don't want them because we don't like being good. Because we're the Wilpons, and we like to destroy the Mets.
So Mets mentality.
It is. But Pollock's he's a great player. I've been seeing him for a few years. He hits really well. He's a great outfielder. He's a guy who I really like to see, and he's going to definitely help out those Dodgers.
Yeah, he'll definitely find his role in L.A. Two big-name players. We've been speaking about them all off season, and we're about 2 weeks away
It's
from
almost the Super
pitchers
Bowl,
and catchers.
these guys aren't signed.
And you got to get Manny Machado or Bryce Harper signed to a contract somewhere. And I don't even know. What else can you say here? The leads are wrong. The reportings are wrong. You seem like you're this close, and really you're just this far apart from a deal. Teams seem interested, but, I mean, Manny Machado, the market's really declined on him. The Yankees haven't even made a formal offer. And, you know, we were looking on Twitter before New Year's.
Yeah, I was about
And
to say.
Dan Clark put out a tweet saying that the Yankees have a deal set in place for Manny Machado. He'll be a Yankee after the new year. It's February almost, and this guy's not even signed, and the Yankees haven't made a formal offer. But if you're in Manny Machado's shoes, I think he's waiting for the formal offer for the Yankees. That's just my thought process. This guy had an opportunity to sign with Chicago. He probably has an opportunity to maybe sign with the Padres, who are looking into him. But the market has just declined so much on this guy that you don't really know where his price tag is right now.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, at this point, he's just going to sign with whoever gives him the most money because day by day, his market's going down, and it's pretty evident. I mean, credible writers, not even Dan Clark, John Heyman was reporting before New Year's, rewind back about a month, that the guy was going to sign right after New Year's, and it's, January 29th today?
Yeah.
And he's not signed, Harper's not signed, and Adam Shine brought this up on his show on CBS Sports Network a couple weeks ago, or last week. He said the Super Bowl is right around the corner, and it's just an absolute joke that 2 out of the 10 biggest superstars in the game of baseball just haven't signed yet. I mean, I can't agree with him more. We're beating a dead horse here. There's really not much more to say about it, but come on, sign your contracts. Let's go.
And you know what? From a Yankees fan's perspective, the real guy that I'm looking at is Bryce Harper. The outfield has its question marks. If there's one area to point out on the New York Yankees, it's the outfield. And you're looking at that left field spot with Brett Gardner signed back.
Joke signing, by the way.
Well, I mean, let's not bash the guy.
Sorry.
He's a team leader.
Team leader.
A little bit. I thought it was a little bit of an expensive contract for a guy that's a utility player in left field, potentially a starter. Jacoby Ellsbury, a huge question mark. You know, Stanton can play the outfield, but you'd rather not put him in that position. And Clint Frazier, you have no idea what you're getting from him. He's been out of baseball for about a year with the concussions. But you have to expect he's back on the grind. Saw a couple videos on Twitter of him in the cage, and you have to expect he's going to get himself into top shape for spring training and fight for a starting role.
Yeah, Clint Frazier to me, just such a likable guy. You look at him, the electric bat speed, those are the 3 words that always come to mind with him. And you're just hoping he stays healthy and hopefully makes an impact on the Yanks and turns into that top prospect they traded for when they gave Andrew Miller to the Indians.
Yeah, and I mean, for the Yankees, Bryce Harper really does make the most sense over Manny Machado. They had that stacked infield. But I guess that's a good problem to have if you were willing to bring on Machado. It's all about a money's game for the Yankees. Cashman is taking his time waiting out these players. And, you know, he pulls stuff right out of his sleeve all the time. Nobody saw the Starlin Castro trade coming for Stanton. No one saw the trade that initially got Castro over. So there's just these small little deals that happen which break the news, and Cashman's brilliant, and you don't know what's happening here. But as you said, Super Bowl time, both big stars don't have a landing spot yet, and the market is diminishing now for both guys.
Well, I mean, now we can't expect anybody to sign for the future. I mean, next year, when we've got these big guys on the market, I'm not going to expect them to sign. The same thing happened last year.
Well, you know, I think Nolan Arenado is a guy that's getting a little bit more hype about next year than Manny Machado is right now. I don't know what it is. I think it might be the Manny Machado's attitude, his play in the postseason. But right now, Arenado is probably at the top of the list for guys that are, if you want to say, available in the soon future. But the Yankees have been known to have almost been targeting Arenado for next season's free agent in the offseason. But does that mean that Manny Machado's out? From reports that I've seen, it looks like the Yankees are pretty much done with the Manny Machado
it's more
sweepstakes.
Of a never say never type of thing. And
they're looking for a 6th starter to go behind CeCe, of course, who has the heart issues.
Another guy who's not signed, Dallas Keuchel. I mean, obviously not the Cy Young pitcher he was, but
it's better than what you got.
Could still be a top 3 starter on pretty much any team in the league. And I don't know if I love him from a Yankees fan standpoint, being that the rotation's already there, but just baffling to me that a guy like him still not signed.
And there's a lot of high-quality free agents still out on the market. And last year around this time, we were talking about the MLB and how they had that sort of training camp, spring training type thing for the free agents that weren't signed, set up by the agent
Boris.
Yeah,
Boris.
Boris set it up. And do you think that would happen again? I mean, there's so many free agents on the market, though. and they're good players that could really help a team.
I mean,
now
could
I
you
think-
imagine seeing Harper and Machado there?
No, I don't think they'd go to that. I think now it's more of a difference of last year there was more depth available, and this year it's more the big names still not signed. Like last year, you guys like Moustakas, Neil Walker,
Solid
Yu Darvish.
players.
solid players. But there's a clear difference when you're talking about Machado and Harper.
And you know what? From a Machado and Harper standpoint, I think they're looking at 1 to 2 year deals here for bigger money. And I think that in the next 2 years, they're going to look for the big contract again. But by that time, they'll be older, closer to 30 than to 20. And that's not when you want to get your big contract. This is the year. But I don't know if teams are willing to give it, or especially the money, the amount that that both guys want. So the offseason is progressing slowly for these two all-star players, and we're just waiting around.
Yeah, well, I mean, Carlos Pena proposed a deal that both of them could get, where you get 3 years. Well, you get 10 years worth $300 million, but there's an opt-out after the third year, and they front-load the money in the beginning. You know, you give them like 45, 45, and 40, and then after that, it cuts down significantly so that they opt out after the third year no matter what, so that they want to opt out, and then they can hit the market again. Then this way, you're getting 3 solid years with them, and you're not even paying $300 million like you have to, and you're not tied down. So, I mean, unless you get this problem where they stay with the deal, but I don't think that would happen. I think it would be a really smart move for any team to do that.
Yeah, I still think they hit the mid-year range deals, but they're not. I think what really set the tone for these guys was early on, late November, early December, I forget, when Bryce Harper turned down a 10-year, $300 million deal from the Washington Nationals.
Oh, it's brutal.
I mean, that's so much money there, and I mean, that's what he wanted, 10-year, $300
And he
million.
won't
You're
get it
locked
again.
down for $10 million a year. If you could say, I'm gonna get $10 million for the next 10 years. That's a total of $300 million. You put in
Oh, it'd
stuff.
be $100 million. Or, no, not 100.
30
$30
million.
million. $30 million.
It's
What did I
$30
say?
million a year.
10. Our
said
math's
I'm
10
a
sorry.
little off
Yeah,
there.
I'm sorry. This is our 4th show.
It's been a long day
I'm a
of
little bit off.
podcasts.
$30 million a year you're getting over the next for the next 10 years. Each year you're getting $30 million. I mean,
You got to be a dummy not
come
to
on.
take that.
I mean,
I think you just really want to see what his market was, but
and look at it.
that
down
was
the drain.
that was his high water mark right there. I mean,
And you know what? It's
frustrating for him.
similar to the Ian Desmond fiasco that happened a few years ago with the Rockies, where he signed that 1-year high price tag deal, but was looking for more years, turned down the deal from the Nationals, and didn't really get the result that he was looking for. So that's the risk that comes with not signing the extension that's given to you, and there's, of course, risk-reward, and we're seeing the risk right now. Maybe they'll cash out with the reward. We have no idea. So that concludes our MLB Whip Around. So that's a sneak peek of one of the 4 shows that we do here at Hills West Media on West Radio. That's the MLB Whip Around. We do that every other week on Tuesdays. So that one comes out. The other 3 shows that we've done are the Colts Corner podcast, which that was our original show. That's after schools on Thursday. That's every week. And now we're going to jump into our 3rd show, the THEORYCAST. It's a very exciting show that we're trying out for the first time this year. And this is a step away from sports for us, so it's a little bit more of an uncomfortable spot for us, not highlighting sports. We're talking theories that go on in the world. What's true, what's not true, what do you believe, what do you not believe? Teleportation, is it real? Have we discovered time travel? The multiverse.
Aliens.
Aliens.
I was thinking about this last night before I went to bed. I was thinking about, like the Big Bang, things like that, I was thinking, well, I mean, there's the figure of a God that you think of, right? You've got the God out there, and then people will argue, that doesn't exist. And I thought, well, I talked about this with you and Liam last week or 2 weeks ago. I said, well, people argue, well, you've got the Big Bang, but how did that get there? Something had to make it. People say, well, the particles came together and they were created, but how did the particles get there? You can't make something out of nothing.
Well, I mean, I don't think we'll ever know that.
Exactly, but the thing is,
it's the beginning of everything. It's just.
But how did it get there? You
don't
can't
know.
make something out of nothing. There's nothing there originally. It's not like the universe started with something there. Something had to have created it for it to be in existence.
But we just have no idea.
Exactly.
There's never going to be any scientific proof.
That's the crazy.
I think the whole religion debate should be like held off. I don't know it's more.
Well, I'm trying to stay away
no,
from the
I
religious
know, I got
I was
you.
standpoint
just
of
trying
it.
to think of a way that this could possibly have
Right.
happened.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe existence for everything is way older than what we're thinking. We have no idea.
I mean, it's infinity years ago. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we have no idea. We don't know when anything really began. It's just all
it's all speculation.
We don't know when
You
it's
can't prove
we
it.
don't know when
theories.
it's gonna end.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean,
the Big Bang Theory is just a theory. I mean, yeah, we promote it in school. You're like, yeah, the Big Bang Theory, but there's no proof of that. Yeah, they say, well, we hear it, but that doesn't mean that it was the beginning of the universe. The sound you hear could be the universe expanding. You have no idea. They've got no proof of anything. It's just all speculation that they try to just throw in our heads.
I mean, I don't disagree with you there. There's definitely scientific data that supports the Big Bang, and there's stuff that's up for grabs, up for further conversation and further experimenting. But will we ever really know? Probably not.
Probably not.
Exactly. We probably won't know, but that's why this show is great. Because
fun.
it's all up for grabs. It's your opinion, what you think. And this is one of the shows that we're trying to promote the most just because it's not a sports show. It's a show about theories, about things that are different than sports, about anything that you want, you can create a podcast for. If you're interested in food and you want to do a food review podcast, if you're interested in A&E and you saw a movie that you liked or you read a book you liked, each week you come in, you do a podcast, do a live broadcast, do a radio show, do whatever you want. That's why we've tried to expand this, and that's why the Theory Show is being tried out. It's been pretty successful so far.
Yeah, definitely. And also we got the What If show going on Thursdays. Just a bunch of stuff that we've created. It's open to anyone.
And
it's just really, this whole thing serves as a great platform to really speak your mind and your opinion.
The TheoryCast came about because of our Instagram channel, our Instagram account, Colts Corner Podcast. We put up a question: what type of show do you want to see? We got overwhelming responses for conspiracy theories, and it came to light. So people put out their input. You don't know. We might even make your idea into a podcast. And in the future, for the rising stars of the podcast, we saw Constantine before. The kid's going to be the star of the show. I'm telling you, he's going to be front and center. But you never know. You promote an idea, and it might come to life. So if you've got any ideas about podcasts that you want us to do, make sure you let us know, because you might be hearing it the next week that you're listening to Colts Corner.
I mean, do we want to do this theory?
I mean, sure. It goes back to sports, but that's why
okay.
we're here. It's okay.
I mean,
there
aren't too many
this
people.
talking the New England Patriots legacy, or is this talking one game?
I think it's just talking overall theories, like the whole Spygate, the Deflategate.
For those who are confused, they are currently looking at a New England Patriots thing that's on Wikipedia for conspiracy theories.
You know what? I think we've bashed New England enough today.
Yeah, well,
I mean, there's always going to be these theories. Is the NFL rigged? Is it a fraudulent league? And sometimes I think about it. You look in Vegas and you look at the lines of these games, and the way these games end, it's almost hard that it's not planned out.
So there's someone on the inside, you're saying?
I mean, it could be planned. We're on the outside. We have no idea. We're just the viewers. But to us, to me at least, it looks a little fraudulent at some times. I'm not saying that the teams, that some teams win all the time means that it's fraudulent like the Patriots, but I think sometimes the way that the lines match up, the under, over, all that kind of stuff, could possibly make it a little scripted.
Yeah, I mean, also I just think Vegas is just so smart with that type of stuff. Not to like get into gambling or anything like that.
Yeah, it's probably
but,
a numbers game too.
Their predictions
we do
are
not.
unreal.
We
The
do not
analytics
promote
they have.
gambling.
It's always spot on.
We are not promoting gambling here in the Colts Corner Podcast.
Yeah, it's smart to point out, I guess.
I'm just saying the whole
I know.
point total
But-
and everything. It's not to say it's more of an inside job, but it could be very like just spot on. They're just geniuses in my opinion.
I mean, we don't promote betting, but but betting and the lines and everything that goes into the NFL, like that's a huge portion of the game.
It's more of a numbers thing that we're talking about than the actual like money
exactly.
aspect. Yeah.
But the way that that it hasn't the opportunity of possibly being fraudulent is just due to the input of money each year from gambling. It just does that have an effect on the outcome? Is it written out? Is it planned out before based on where the money is? But we'll never know unless it sneaks out, which if it was a real thing, it probably would have sneaked out by now, right? That's what that's my thinking on the whole process. But we don't really know. We'll never know unless something comes out with that. But there's a possibility. People are a little skeptical.
Hey, you never know.
Well, one of our viewers, Alif, over there, he's currently playing with a balloon, but Alif gave us the idea of, is reincarnation real?
Oh, he's coming over now.
Alif is, I don't know if he's coming on, but still,
he's coming on.
So we're talking.
Oh God, okay. Alif
what's
is
on your
coming
mind?
on the
Reincarnation real?
Reincarnation, is it real? All right, so I'm going to reincarnate right now.
Mic closer to your mouth, Alif.
Are you ready?
There you go.
Are you ready? Okay, I did it. It's done. I
This is the
reincarnated.
best part of the day.
You can't stop me. I'm too powerful. Douglas, nice to meet you.
How are you?
Have you ever met God?
No, I guess.
Did you know that all of us together make one God, the human God?
Why-
That is the next
why
stage
did
of
I introduce
evolution.
this?
We will control all of reality.
Let's take the microphone away from him now.
Yeah, let's.
Alif, thanks for
Okay.
joining us.
Thank you, Alif.
We can cut that out and
A
post.
little bit uncomfortable there, but they got a round. So Alif is gonna get a round of applause, but we can't even get a round of applause for our 4 shows today. You know what?
This is ridiculous.
This is an outrage. Okay. Let's learn something about sports. Okay. Let's give us a round of applause. All right.
I think we found out our perfect advertiser. I think we know how we're gonna get viewers.
Hey, he gets the people, you know?
We got people interested.
Alif.
Alif, you're the man.
Would you like a 1-year deal to be our personal advertiser?
We can't talk money, and there will be no money. But you can be a member as our personal advertiser. Actually, not even
that
ours.
was a terrible idea that worked out somewhat well.
Yeah, whatever.
All
It's
right.
not a bad idea. Could work.
So that'll wrap up our 4th and final part of the art show thing, art show spectacular, that the special that Doug was talking about.
Extravaganza.
You can use whatever word
Anything.
you want.
Throw any adjective in you
It was
want.
a great time. But we got to thank some people, Mr. Doxey, Mr. Asciuti, Dr. Catamano, the administration, the Board of Education, our audience, who was here today in the art show and who listens to our podcast every Thursday. Thank you to the class of 2016 for their very generous donation towards our podcast setup. Thank you, Brendan and Gina, for helping us out today. Brian was here with us earlier helping us out. We had Constantine.
It was a great day.
It definitely was a great day, and hope this continues in the future.
Yeah, don't forget to sign up for art electives, journalism, film and media, join the newspaper club, and get involved in everything with Hills West Media. Thanks for joining us here at Art Day, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next time.